understand what 5G can do for the worldwide e-commerce company Groupon, a company which I am sure you have quite often scoured through to see what they could do for you. But what can they do for all of us? Please welcome the CEO from Groupon, Rich Williams.
Business at Henry's salon is pretty good. But pretty good isn't good enough for Henry. So he sends an alert out that all services are half off for the rest of the day. The offer pops up on phones in the area. The word spreads quickly. Well, now things are picking up, and that's how Henry likes it. He checks schedules, takes appointments. He gets real-time sales updates, all in one place. He even gets notified when there's a VIP in the house. This is how you can run your business your way. This is Groupon.
Where is it? All right. So I have a proposition for you. We're going to start a little differently than probably your typical presentation that you've seen or that you'll see. I want to make you a bet. This is a bet that you absolutely can win. It requires zero skill, no skill at all. All it requires is one of these. So if you have one of these, just grab it, take a look at it. Many of you are already looking at them, which is a bad sign. But you can win this. Super simple. Here's the bet. I bet you that you can't make it through this presentation without looking at those things. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that, but again, you should be able to do this, a test of will. You should be able to win, but the data's on my side that you won't. Now, if you're an average person, you're going to look at that thing at least once every 10 to 12 minutes. And in this room, there are no average people when it comes to mobile. So you're probably going to look in about 5-6 minutes. If you're a millennial, and there's some of those in here, you're going to look in every 2 to 3 minutes. If you're Gen Z, you're going to look every 30 seconds. So you're going to lose. But try it. Like, work with me and try it. It's an interesting exercise. And there's a reason it's hard. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why it's hard to not look at that thing just for 10 or 15 minutes, about what we'll take going through here. Now, you might be asking, why am I talking about this? What is this guy who sells coupons for a living doing calling me out about looking on my phone? I mean, you can multitask. We can all multitask. We're good at it. The reason I'm talking about it is if you're in the business of selling things like I am, there's about $700 billion or so of commerce that's going to flow through those small bet-losing devices over the course of 2019. And that's growing at about 40%. Depending on your source. Some say it's even growing faster. I think those are wildly underestimating the impact of that device on commerce. Just think about your own behavior. Think about how much research, how much dreaming, how many videos you watch before you make buying decisions. It's not the buy buttons that are clicked on those small screens. It's the broader impact on commerce that's so significant. And why that matters is not just the economic value. Why that matters is why that's happening, why it's accelerating at a pace that far exceeds the amount of devices that are out in the marketplace and the speed at which they're growing. Now, I'm not going to talk about the dopamine loops and things like that all that much. I'm going to talk about something else I think is bigger, and it's, I think, the biggest disruptive force in business today, at least in our business today. And I will tell you, and it's a spoiler alert, it's not 5G. And I'm over 5G. I don't know, I'm walking around these halls the last couple of days. I've seen 5G everywhere. No one can explain to me what it means. I think it sounds super cool and disruptive, but the biggest disruptor is something different. And I'll talk about what that is here in a little bit. But before I go too far down that road, how many folks are familiar with Groupon? Okay. A good number, but not everybody. If you're not familiar with Groupon, just the Cliff Notes version, we're a marketplace. We connect on one side of our marketplace businesses, mostly small and medium-sized businesses. On the other side, it's consumers. We connect them in this world of things to do, eat, see, and buy in their neighborhoods. We make a lot of those connections. We've sold about 1.5 billion Groupons. In that process, something around $20 billion going to those small businesses and medium businesses, and about $30 billion being saved for consumers. So a pretty powerful marketplace, decent scale. We still have a lot of room to go. We're still very early, I think, in our space, which is a multi-trillion-dollar landscape. But it's a big business, and an exciting one that's being, again, disrupted in lots of really powerful and interesting ways. We like to think that we're building the daily habit in local commerce, being the connective tissue for how merchants and consumers work in different ways and more profitable and exciting ways. That may be different for those of you who know Groupon or familiar with Groupon. Maybe a little different than your concept of what Groupon is. You're probably thinking somewhere back when the dinosaurs roamed and sent emails via desktops, and that had that dreaded voucher, that piece of paper, that coupon that was awkward. You didn't know when you were going to hand it over. Was it at the beginning when you checked in for your Michelin star experience, or was it at the end when you decided to pay? That's what most people, I think about with Groupon, at least in the business world. Our customer does not, but in the business world, this is what Groupon was known for. But it's a very different business today. And its business is so different because of that little device, that little bet-losing device. When about 1 billion of them hit, we had a choice to make. Ultimately, we were going to try to protect what we'd built, like a lot of our competitors did. And if you remember, Groupon was one of the most cloned businesses in history. We had thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of competitors around the world almost instantly. The vast majority of them today are gone. And a big reason why they're gone is they didn't recognize the disruptive potential of this device. We saw it. We decided to bet on it in a different way. We saw the potential here. More than anything, we saw the potential to harness that truly disruptive force. And for us, an incredibly powerful decision was made that we were going to embrace that disruptive force. And that disruptive force is the commitment, a relentless commitment to the customer experience. It's not a technology. It wasn't HTML5 or React Native or an app store. It was caring about the customer in a different way, and now in an increasingly unselfish way. Because the mobile experience required different thinking to be successful. It required things that were just kind of, they're important concepts, but not required concepts in a desktop world. Think of them as like our 3 C's of how we build products. Requires context, required convenience, because think about the cognitive disconnect of having the most convenient piece of the internet in your pocket with an inconvenient experience. Requires convenience, and it requires connectivity. Not just in the basic sense of sending data back and forth, but social connections required that. So when we embraced that, our business started to change. We went from being a mobile participant to a mobile-first company. And when we did that, we built a product that very quickly gained something around 200 million downloads today. More importantly, the way our customers started to interact with our business fundamentally changed. And this started to really accelerate when we decided to really double down in 2015, 2016. So we're in a place now where the vast majority of our traffic, over 80% of our traffic and about 80% of our transactions now occur on that tiny device. And for a company like us, that's somewhere in the $4 billion range, which is very different than that email and desktop world that we were in before. Which is all good stuff, and a lot of good things happened as a result. Groupon's now the 3rd most visited retail app in the US, behind a couple of small companies you may have heard of, Amazon and Walmart. We're working on it. Give us some time. We're the 6th highest rated iOS app of all time. Probably not what you thought about when you saw Groupon on the agenda. We have 90% customer satisfaction, very different than the paper voucher land that we started. And in almost every country we operate in, we're top 10. Place like France, we're actually number 1. Place like the UK, we're number 2, again, behind some small companies you may have heard of, that one small company you may have heard of in retail. So very cool things. But what do you do when the world starts to change again? Where we've made a big commitment to mobile, we made a big commitment to app. Now you're in a place where the vast majority of people don't download apps in a given month. They're consolidating. They're overwhelmed. Yeah, there's an app for that. There's 2.1 million apps for that. That's overwhelming. It's too much. People are protecting their screen real estate in a way they never have. And that's not going to change. If anything, it changes to the worse, right? It doesn't get easier. So what do you do in this world? In this world, you still have to answer the same questions. How do you build a more seamless experience? How do you connect more deeply with your customers on a daily basis? How do you just get smarter, make things easier in a world where you have less control, where your ability to connect with customers through your own four walls is changing? Well, first and foremost, go fishing. Just fish in a different pond. Connect with your customers in their way. And this, for us, is probably one of our single biggest strategic changes over the last couple of years, where we just finally said, hey, look, we want to have an amazing app experience. We want our mobile web experience to be better and keep improving. We want to do things to increase conversion rates. But you know what? More importantly, we need to connect with our customers wherever they are. So it's not just about us building a better experience for us. It's how can our experiences, the seamless things that we're doing, connect with customers on their terms? How do we harness that disruptive force of customer experience in a way that's not so selfish? And that's a huge change, and it's a hard one to make, but you think about all the ways that you can connect with your customer now, and how many ways these things are changing and growing every single day. I don't care whether that's social, programmatic TV, connected cars, whatever 5G will do for all of this at some point when we realize it. And you think of all the enablers that are out there that can make these things even more powerful and create new connections, new relationship opportunities, not just through your own four walls or the four, corners of your screen. And I'll run through a couple of these just as examples. And again, I think these are amazing enablers. A lot of things in here are overhyped, but a lot of things are amazing enablers. So take as an example, and this is just an example for us, like virtual assistants. Not new, lots of cool things here, but the work that we do to make it easy for our customer, Todd, in this case, to find something to do over the weekend. This same work, the work it takes to sort literally tens of thousands of options for something for Todd to do this weekend, all of this work, it's the same work that enables the connected home experience. The skills we build, the ML and AI behind the scenes that makes that work in our four walls, makes it work here. Why is that important? Because what do you think is going to happen more frequently? I don't care what company you are. Maybe there's a couple that can elevate above this. What do you think is going to happen more often? That Todd, our customer, is going to say, hey, Google, find me something to do this weekend with my kids. Or do you think he's going to say, hey, Google, can you go to Groupon, find me something on Groupon to do with the kids because I really like Groupon? It's not going to happen. I mean, it will happen. Some people, we have super users like everybody else, but for the vast majority of people, most people are going to say, hey, Google, find me something to do this weekend. But all the work that we've done to make our virtual assistants program work really well in our own four walls helps connect with Todd wherever Todd wants to connect, because that's what's important. We should be thinking, how do we add value unselfishly to Todd every way we possibly can? If that makes somebody else's experience better, great. The bar that we have to set for ourselves in this world is, how do we make our version, when you are in our experience, the best possible version of it you can have, that you can find anywhere? Thing for us in payments is another great example. We built a whole system around linking offers with cards and kind of making it so that voucher thing, that awkward experience, just never has to happen. Now, all of that work can work in a Groupon wallet. It also works everywhere else because it doesn't give a crap what your wallet is. It only cares that it's you. It cares that it sees you and your cards wherever you're connected. And that's the far more powerful thing here, is that, yeah, we can make, in this version, in a wallet on Groupon, you're going to get better things happening. But if you're anywhere and connected in our ecosystem, those same, really similar good things are going to happen, and you're going to be reminded that Groupon helped make those happen every time. And I think these opportunities exist for the vast, vast majority of us if we just open the lens a little bit and embrace that disruptive force of customer focus and embrace it unselfishly. And in this world where you have all of these new enablers, I don't care what it is, what acronym it is, and I love all these things. VR is amazing. AR is amazing for its potential to accelerate these things. 5G, whatever it is going to be amazing to help accelerate these things and bring it to life in new ways. These are all amazing, but don't get caught in the trap of being focused on these as disruptors. That's the one thing I would say. These are kind of nasty traps if you focus on them this way. Focus on the customer experience, and these things will help come to life in an incredible way. Because this stuff, these 3 C's, these are not just the requirements of the mobile experience. These are the requirements of the new customer, of the mobile consumer, the modern consumer. And with all those enablers, these things are arguably even more important, even more powerful than what they were when they first came on the scene. Because these can make the experiences incredible and incredibly valuable for both your end customer and your company through an incredible number of outlets. So with that, I'll wrap it up here pretty quickly. I know we're going to continue heads down, focusing on all those enablers and embracing them in different ways. And I'm excited about that, and I'm excited to share a bunch of new experiences with you all coming on Groupon. Experiences like that one of Henry's at the very beginning that we showed. And I think the interesting thing about that is we shot that, I think, 6 years ago. And it was done as like this moonshot thing, like a what-if exercise. Wouldn't it be amazing? We can do all those things. And all those things in some way, shape, or form are basically in market somewhere. So I'm excited to help bring those to you, because I think when you start to experience those seamless experiences where you just walk in and walk out of places, you don't have to worry about paying, you don't have to worry about tipping. I think you're going to like those a lot. And for me, I'm, though frankly, more excited selfishly as a customer to see what you all will do with harnessing those things. So while I can see a number of you have absolutely lost our bet, I'm looking forward to seeing you make it even harder for all of us to continue to lose those bets going on by embracing the single most disruptive force in business today. And again, that's the focus on the customer. So with that, thanks. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Rich. Thank
Cheers.
you.